Well, what a divisional playoff weekend that came and went. It started very well. The Packers, we took down the Rams, the top-ranked defense, put a 500 total yards on them. So we're in the NFC Championship again, and for the first time, Aaron Rodgers has it on his home turf, or for as we Undertaker fans call it, in his yard. And following that was the Bills with their dominant win over the Ravens. I feel so sorry for Lamar Jackson. I like him. He's one of my favorite young quarterbacks because the guy does everything. And he has to because he has nothing around him. Lamar Jackson makes up 95% of that Ravens offense. The other five is Tucker, and it's the main reason why he has not gotten far. But he's young. He's got time. Thing is, though, if this keeps up, if they don't get any help, people are going to ignore that and put all the blame on him and call Lamar Jackson a failure. That's how it works. That's how it works as a star quarterback. Of course, the weekend ended just a few hours ago. First, we had the Chiefs, and they beat the Browns, but it came at a cost. Patrick Mahomes got lit up really badly, and he didn't return to the game because he had a concussion. So we're hoping. I'm definitely hoping he makes it because, well, not makes it. I'm definitely hoping he's healthy enough to start because I think Kansas City's going to need him against that tough Bills team. Bills are pretty strong, and they mean business this year. And of course, we got Breeze versus Brady, the battle of the battle of the old fogies. I kid. Of course, that's all they talked about. These are two old quarterbacks going at it. The Bucks. Third time was the charm. They didn't beat them. They didn't win either of the regular season meetings, but they won the meeting that counts, the one in January. And it was Breeze's last game. It was pretty much officially announced that he'll retire after this season. So he's gonna hang it up, and they say he's gonna do the analyst thing like Romo's doing in NBC. That should be good, especially if he replaces Collinsworth. I think a lot of people want that. But and Brady's off to the conference title game. So we finally got it. Brady versus Rodgers in the postseason. This should have been the Super Bowl. I would say twice, but Brady was there, but Rodgers wasn't because of people around him. But another thing that stands out is this is a rematch of the Week 5 meeting, which didn't go well for Rodgers. Now, didn't go well for the Packers. Now, as a sports fan, I believe in good omens and bad omens, good karma and bad karma, and to try to eliminate a lot of bad karma. And it's kind of therapeutic what I'm about to do. I'm going to admit all of the details about that game, all of them. So listen closely. I've said many times that the defense won that game, and they did. The running game also won that game. The Buccaneers scored 5 touchdowns. It was a 38-10 final that week. It was our first loss of the season. They scored 5 touchdowns. The running game scored 2. The defense scored no one. That's 3. I've also said that Brady's game wasn't that good. He had threw for 166 yards, which isn't much, but he threw for 2 touchdowns. What I have hardly said publicly is that Rodgers, it wasn't his best moment. And to be honest, I'm being a bit nicer. Rodgers threw for only 160 yards. He did not have a touchdown pass, and he threw 2 picks. One of them was returned all the way. Now, one thing I know about Aaron Rodgers as a Packers fan, when he has good games, he has really good games. But when he has a rare off day, and while his off days are few, they can be damning. Rodgers has always been all or nothing. When he's good, he's really good. But when the few times when he has an off game, it is an off game. I have seen it. And it is a true fact that Rodgers' game was actually one of his worst of his career. Like I said, 160 yards, not a single touchdown pass. He threw 2 picks. Um, so it was definitely not his best moment. And what and the reason why I hardly bring that up is because the other factors don't get mentioned a lot. All that gets all that gets mentioned is the Packers got blown out, which is a true fact, and Brady gets a lot of credit. Brady gets a lot of credit, even though he barely had more yards than Rodgers in that game. So his game wasn't that good either. The only difference was he threw for 2 scores. That is literally the only difference. That's literally the only difference in that between the two. The running game and the defense collectively outdid Brady, but that never gets said. That's the problem. So that's why That's kind of why I don't really talk much about Rodgers' performance that night, um, because that's all they'll talk about. And because I honestly believe, without a shadow of a doubt, people try to look for uh, bad things to say about him because they don't like the fact that he's lighting up the league. He is. Look how he's done this year. Look how he's done since that game. Um, he's only thrown 3 interceptions in the 11 games he's started since then. He's only thrown for under 200 one time, and he's had 5 games where he's thrown for 4 touchdowns. This is his best season in a while. He's always had real great seasons, but this is his best in a few years. He's really on his game. He's really on his game this year. 48 touchdowns, 5 picks, and I think he threw for 3 Saturday. So he's got 50 touchdown passes counting the postseason. So he's definitely on his game. Not to say that Brady isn't either. I mean, come on. Yeah, Brady doesn't have Rodgers numbers, but what quarterback does this season? I have admittedly mocked his interceptions, but to be honest, I've always found his turnovers surprising because I've always thought Brady was one of those guys that almost never committed turnovers. I always thought he and Rodgers were pretty much the very same in that regard. If Brady throws a pick, it always surprises me, especially well, especially those early, not the early years, but his last few years with New England. I was always shocked when he threw an interception. This year was honestly his interception total this year was surprising, but I admit I did have that Schadenfreude when he would throw picks. A lot of fans did because we're used to him with the Patriots, and he's connected to all these cheating things and all that. So we like to see players like that knock down a few pegs. But yeah. But the bottom line is, put all that aside. Put all that aside. It's happening. Brady versus Rodgers in the postseason. Football fans have waited forever for this, and it is finally happening. And to be honest, even though I was looking forward to Saints Packers Part 2, because when those two teams play each other, it's always a slobber knocker, as Hall of Famer Jim Ross says. But Brady versus Rodgers needed to happen because things need to get settled. They need to get settled. Each one gets called the GOAT. I say Rodgers is, and I think the whole title with Brady is a bit fraudulent due to certain things. This needs to be settled. It's like a grudge match. It's a grudge match, even though they hardly played each other in their careers. But and yeah, I'm talking a lot about this because it's big. It's big. It is very big. But it's like, how can I put it? It's like if Stone Cold and John Cena actually faced each other at WrestleMania. That's how big it is. So let me stop going on and on about this and just get on to some predictions here. The AFC. The AFC's hard to predict because it's too early and I don't know how Mahomes is. I'm confident that he'll be healthy and he'll be out there starting. And if he is, the Chiefs will win and go back to the Super Bowl. That's if he is. If he isn't, and if we see Chad Henne again, I think the Chiefs can forget it. That's not a slight on Chad. That's not a slight on Chad Henne. It's just that the Bills have a strong offense. They are a team on a mission, and there's a reason why they were picked to make it this far. So, but my side prediction is Mahomes will be healthy, and he'll be out there playing his ass off like he's been doing. And when that happens, he'll be back in the Super Bowl. We'll see him on February 7th. The NFC. Now, I get told a lot when I pound my chest, and I do, when I pound my chest about that victory over the Saints, because that was the best victory we had. I get told this a lot. It's a lot can change in a number of months. That game was in October, and we're talking 3 months. A lot can change in 3 months, and here's what's changed regarding Tampa. While Tampa's defense was very good in that game, they haven't really performed like that since then. They haven't really stifled quarterbacks since that game. So it may be chances are that'll be the case again in this game. And like I said, Rodgers has not had another terrible aberration since that game. So I think, with all that aside, and with all the numbers I've read on both teams, both high-powered offenses, but we have a much better running game. But Tampa is good at stopping the run. With all those numbers aside, and the big difference being that the first game was in Tampa, this is going to be in Lambeau in January, where the Packers usually shine. Packers are going to take this. It'll be close, but we will. And we'll get that Super Bowl I rematch that we should have had last year. So again, Chiefs and Packers will win this, because I think Mahomes will play. I think Mahomes will start. He'll be good, and the Chiefs will take it. And Packers, because again, 3 months is a long time. A lot changes in a football season in 3 months. And Rodgers is going to have a better game, and that home field is going to help him. So those are my picks. And I'll review Conference Championship Sunday next week. And hopefully it'll be good news for the green and gold. So until then.